Hey, Nicole Johnson again. I got another nightmare tenant story, and I don't know why all of these memories are just flooding back from our duplex in Ohio because we just had some of the wildest stories and wildest tenants from there. But it was also our first investment property, so we just had a huge learning curve over the years. But one of the funny stories about this one of our first tenants in there in the duplex, and clearly it had a high turnover rate because every story I have is about a new tenant, but it's at the same duplex investment property that we've owned. But anyways, high turnover rate. So one of our tenants was the first one. We actually had inherited this tenant when we bought the property because he was renting from the previous owners. And we were so dumb. We were so dumb and so young and just believed people, like whatever they would tell us. And so like the first month, he's like, "Oh, hey, I put the check in the mail for the rent, but it must have gotten lost in the mail." And we're like, "Okay, it should show up soon." And then, the month would go by. And, "Oh yeah, I don't know what's happening. I'm on the phone with my bank and the money order got lost, but I'm gonna drive up there today and drop it off." Doesn't show. "Oh, sorry, I had a flat tire and I couldn't get up there." I mean, he sold us so many stories, and it was all about the check getting lost in the mail, the money order getting lost in the mail, his car breaking down so he couldn't drive to pay us rent. And then, I mean, we were so dumb and so naive, and we just believed him because we thought he was telling the truth. But no, he was lying. He just didn't have the money to pay rent. And so eventually he was our first eviction. After just a couple of months of the runaround, he was our first eviction. And our first time we actually went through court, and it's my first time ever going in court. We had to stand before the judge and testify, and tried to garnish his wages, but turns out he didn't even have a job, so we didn't get to garnish our wages, and just got a very expensive lesson in that usually when people tell you that they put a check in the mail and it's lost, they're lying through their teeth, because there's not a check in the mail and it didn't get lost because they just don't have a job and they don't have money to pay rent. So we learned a lot in our early 20s about being landlords, and are definitely not as trusting as we used to be back then, but had, an expensive lesson in people lie and don't tell the truth, especially when they don't have the money to pay rent. So anyways, that's just another story that popped up. If you've had nightmare tenant stories like that, where people say they're going to pay and they don't, and you have to go through eviction and you have to go through the garnished wages, good luck with that. Sell that property and buy some mortgage notes, because it is hands down easier to deal with mortgage notes than it is with these nightmare tenants. So if you want more info, reach out, give me a call. Hope you're doing well. Have a great day. Thanks. Bye.